whole childhood wonder stage just blew right past you.
Good evening, Whammers. Welcome once again to WHAM, the one, the only, the best Warhammer Monthly podcast that you will experience in this time frame you're in right now. I think it's hitting as many ever-decreasing circles as I can get.
It's fairly specific.
As always, I'm Adam, and with me, as usual, is Andy Turnbull.
Hello.
And we are going to, for your enjoyment, and I do mean enjoyment, this week, going to look at issue 14 of Warhammer Monthly. Release date, or should I say cover date, of April 1999. April 1999. I don't know about you, but whenever I look at the dates on this, and it feels like we're kind of, even though we're so far away from catching up to where we are now, I always feel this is a lot longer ago than it was.
Yeah, because I was April 99, still at uni. So
yep.
try to think. Yeah, I mean, for context, we are currently taking away Warhammer. We are absolutely balls deep in the madness and hype for the Phantom Menace.
Yep, that is happening. And even me, someone who does not care for Star Wars at all, I'm getting swept along by it. There's so many people I knew were into it.
I'm always a Star Wars fan, and like the expanded universe really rekindled the love for it. I wax on at length. I love the first 3 Zan books are beautiful, just amazing. Then the first Dark Empire mini, that is just the best. I will hear no criticism. You are wrong. After is of varying quality. Your mileage may vary. I was balls deep. Shadows of the Empire. Got the book. Yep. Got the N64 game.
Yep. I remember the N64 game very fondly.
Yep. I always loved how you kept trying to win at the end, despite the fact you couldn't, because the whole point then Ash dice. An odd choice, but no, that was good. Again, because also you got to do the land speeders on Hoth.
Yes.
Just.
What always sticks in my mind for this kind of time, especially when it comes to the Phantom Menace, is seeing that burgeoning beginning of what would become the trailer mentality. When they got the Phantom Menace up on a website and you could see it in that tiny postage stamp ran by QuickTime. Oh, yeah. Jesus Christ. It felt like the future. It felt like something had changed, and I remember feeling that way.
Well, it was probably the first time that a trailer was an event in and of itself as well.
Yes.
It's whatever your thoughts are on Lucas, he's one of these people that from the get-go had some quite pressing ideas about where things would go. Even if you cast your mind back right to the start when he got Star Wars, when he was given away and he was trying to beg and money, and he held on to the merchandising rights. And yeah, whatever. Nobody makes anything off that. Yeah.
Where in that first line, toy shops were selling empty boxes because they didn't have enough stock to get out of the factory, and you got a toy delivered to you later.
It's mad to think that would happen. Like, here's effectively an IOU. IOU 12 toys. He got it from that. And again, for whatever you say is like ILM, LucasArts, Lucasfilm, all of that was built on the merch sales of Star Wars.
Yes.
To the point he could just go and do what he wanted. And then he Shadows of the Empire, which was kind of the between the special editions, again, some of the changes were good. Get to fuck with some of them. I'm not sure which one annoys me more. Either Handshot first, or getting rid of the Ewok theme at the end of Return of the Jedi with that pish.
Do you want to know something that's going to really, really make you... Maybe sad's not the right word, but it might change the dynamic of our relationship.
Go on.
Special editions are the first time I ever saw Star Wars.
Can't believe you were kept in a dungeon for so many years.
Well, you couldn't watch them in Dubai. The Star Wars was nowhere in Dubai.
Well, I suppose it's kind of one of these things as well. We kind of take it for granted now. But aside from like because you've got it on bank holiday TV usually, but it did become maddening for a point where it was like you'll get Star Wars one year, Empire Strikes Back, then you're back to Star Wars because they don't yet have the rights for Return of the fucking Jedi.
Yes,
I'd like to see it. I know I've seen it. I have seen it because it's one of the first films I saw in the cinema was actually that. Like I saw film club stuff like Spider-Man, the Dragon's Challenge, and all that nonsense. But I got taken to Return of the Jedi. So, and I did get the VHS because VHS releases of certain films. It's mad to think about it. It's like Disney kind of were big on it, but even the other studios they would only release films for a while, then they'd let them go out, and then they'd make a big fanfare of bringing them back.
Yeah, Blade Runner, of course, being one of the major ones that both signified how important the VHS market could be, but also signified how easy it was to make money by just having something on release for a short period of time. And it's something that the DVDs never really did. Once something was out on DVD, it was out on DVD until you ran out of stock.
Yeah, unless you're doing like smaller label or boutique releases or your collector's edition versions of it.
Yeah, Vinegar Strokes and all that type of things, they release things on much smaller scales. Yeah, the first time is because David, a lad I went to school with, who will not be listening to this, but if he is, hello, you're at Herman. He got really excited about the special editions coming out. And so we went to see the special editions as they came out in cinema. And that was the first time I'd ever seen a Star Wars film. Although, I tell a lie, I had seen the Droids cartoon series by that point.
Well, can't be perfect. It's fine, but it wasn't. It wasn't. To me, the problem is, as a kid, you have these kind of your notions on you. Hopefully, as you grow older, you get out of them, or you end up on fucking 4chan or Cinema Sins and shit. It wasn't proper Star Wars.
No.
It didn't feel right. Like Ewoks kind of got a bit of a free pass because you only saw them in the context of the film, and they were fucking teddy bears.
Yeah. Carnivorous teddy bears, but still teddy bears.
They were still badass. However, Ewoks kind of got a bit more of a free pass, but the droids, because obviously they were in, and you got more of the Empire and all that, and you're like, yeah, this doesn't quite feel proper Star Wars to me as a kid. So watching it I'm older, I appreciate it for what it is. It's all right. Again, it's no worse than most kids' cartoons of the era. No,
I mean, it's that late 70s, early 80s cartoon series is, you get Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines. They're big, bad, dirty, and mean, you know.
I've watched that. Not just that fucking trailer at the end of all the Transformers VHSs back in the day. I have actually seen it. Burns and I.
You did. And I was really excited because I had the VHS of it when I was a kid. My God, somebody else remembers Bigfoot and the Muscle Machines. They're big, bad, dirty, and mean.
I mean, how the fuck anyone thought that was going to work? The answer to that, kids, is quite simple. We call it cocaine.
It's a hell of a drug, especially in the 80s.
A lot of writers loved it. It's glaringly obvious. But yeah. But no, so 1999, we're in this. Games Workshop's in full throw for third ed 40k. Can't think what else. Warhammer's kind of limping on. I think it's just about to get a
Yeah, you're getting like the refresh happening now. The 5th edition is about 18 months out, which gives you the tiny, tiny Warhammer Armies books, which are so small.
Yeah.
And it drove me insane in the day. It's like, how are these the same price and so goddamn small? That's not right.
Yeah.
Warhammer Quest is done.
Blood Bowl's done.
Yeah, Blood Bowl's done for a couple of years. Necromunda's pretty much done for a couple of years. Second Ed Necromunda should be out 2001.
Is Battlefleet?
It's Battlefleet Gothic's about to hit. I think that's late 99, early 2000 Battlefleet Gothic hits. Got me doing it now. Battlefeet. Oh my God. Battlefeet Glothic. Jesus Christ. The name of the episode. Battlefeet Glothic.
Yeah. Because I remember that kind of piqued my interest a little bit, but I didn't really. It was difficult to get. I wasn't really going into Games Workshop stores.
No.
One, because if you can avoid it, you didn't. Fucking horrible places. I always feel sorry for the staff in those back in the day. Because you can tell they just wanted to go in and do a job, but the shite they were expected to do.
Yeah. I mean, once you get into, especially the early 2000s, the retail side of Games Workshop becomes awful. Like, really bad.
I mean, you could see they were quite good when they were wanting to show the game off, and like they got into it. But that was always good to kind of watch. But them having to approach and do the pushy sale stuff constantly, you're like, guy, I know you don't want to do this. I've done retail. I know how shit this is.
Yeah. No, 100%. And it's funny because I remember during the early to mid 90s, you'd go in, you'd be asked, is there anything I can help with? It's like, you either say no or you say what you want, and then you were left to get on with it.
Yeah.
And it always, I distinctly remember going into the York shop and them having the Mighty Empire's polystyrene castle set up. And I was just looking at it. And they came over and said, "Oh, what are you after today?" It's like, I want to get the Hero Quest. My God, how good's my memory on this one? I wanted to get the Hero Quest expansion against the Ogre Horde. And he went, "All right, okay, well, I can grab that for you." And then I just started talking about the castle to him. And he got a box out and he was showing me all the ins and outs of it and everything. And it was a really good time. And not once did it feel like he was trying to sell me the castle.
Well, the whole point is it became a whole, not just Games Workshop, retail in general. Because I remember when I worked in the jewelers part time while I was at uni, and we went on seminars on the ways to make a sale, like in terms of just where you stand in the customer's eye line, where you approach. Always side on, by the way, never front on. It's aggressive and confrontational. The person will always have their defences up if you come at them that way. If you approach them from the side,
yep,
you have to turn and engage. All this built.
I remember them from working at Zavvi, like Virgin Megastore and Zavvi, just genuinely stupid ass American bullshit.
Yes, or was obviously, and it's like, I again, it's part of the reason why most people, I would say specifically men, because we are not built, as a general rule, not built for this kind of interaction. We don't like it at all. Why most of us will go with headphones shopping, because it's a horrible generalization, but it is broadly speaking true. Is that you generally tend to go because you want something.
Yes,
I will go to browse certain shops because something in that might attract my interest.
Yeah.
I'm going shopping because I want or need something.
Yeah.
If I don't have to, I won't shop.
No. It's been a very, very long time since I've done something like going into a record shop to browse to find what CDs they've got. Or going to see what films are in the sale at HMV. It just doesn't happen anymore. And then that's partly because I've got old. Because I'm ancient now. Partly it's because of the way that these things, how we consume this media, has changed massively over the last 15 years. But no, I'm with you. If I'm going into a shop, I want to be in and out.
I will browse and look at certain things like art materials and stuff. I'll generally have a look to see if there's anything new, and new pens and stuff. It's always worth. I might have a wee go at that.
Yeah.
As a rule, and in the comic shop from Planet or that, I'll always browse and see just in case there's anything catches my eye that's. But I don't go in like, if I'm going to, these days if I go to a Warhammer shop, I'm going there because I want to buy something. I'm in and I'm either buying it because you've got it, or I'm fucking walking out the shop because you don't have it and I'm not having some chat.
Yeah. And that seems to be the problem with most Games Workshop stores at the moment is, we don't have it in, but you can order it. Well, shit.
Yeah, I can, but I kind of wanted to go in and physically pick up so I can have it now rather than...
Yep.
But
I usually do that so I've got something to build at work. So before we get started, something that I've realised in the editing of these shows, that there's been a little theme that's kind of started to emerge. And so I'm going to hold on to that theme and I'm going to walk with it for a little bit. So what happens, not every show, but some shows, I have a brief explanation of something I'm reading at the moment. And that thing that I'm reading at the moment is Todd McFarlane's Spawn, because about 3 months ago, I went back to the beginning and I've read an issue, not every night, but most nights I've read one issue of Todd McFarlane's Spawn. I am now up to issue 22. It has been delightful. It's also absolute knackers. Fucking Houdini.
He's just, I always have a soft spot for his art. There was always something to it. I know not to everyone's taste, but he always had a thing that caught my eye, and it's like, yeah, I quite like that. So Spawn, I get what he was trying to do. It's like, I like a lot of the choice. Like, I'm going to make my protagonist front and center. He's going to be African American. It's like, yeah, we're going full into that, which is for an indie thing, not especially as well. Given I know it's indie with exclamation sort of quotation marks, because it's still the guy that did the big Spider-Man book.
Yeah.
But and I like he kind of wanted to be a bit more violent, a bit more horror and all that. It's like, yeah, it's different enough from what's kind of on the shelf. But it's like, do you not pay attention to any of the people you worked with in terms of writing?
His Frank Miller collab issue is, I must have read it 3 times, because it is literally sandwiched between the dark, urban, gritty, rat alley type stuff and Dark Angel, Spawn, and Angela coming along. And oh, by the way, the Spawn Origins reprint completely omits the Cerebus issue. It's gone.
That was always the way. That was one of Dave Sims'
right, because it was in the Titan reprint.
I think that the contract goes for a certain point, and after that, it's like,
right.
It's not up for being used any further. Because do you know that Dave Sim redrew Spawn 10?
I didn't.
Dave Sim redrew Spawn issue 10 for a Kickstarter a few years back.
No, I'm going to do that later. I'm going to do that.
I'm not sure how easy it is to find online, as in scans and YAR. It is pricey, because I have a copy. Because Dave Sim
is a man with interesting thoughts.
He is what happens if you just do comics on your own in a room for a long time on your own. You go mad.
Yes.
It happens to so many, and you can see it. However, between him and Gerhard, Cerebus the Aardvark is something that you want to read some of it and then stop.
Yes, before it starts getting a little...
When he starts talking about voids and...
Yeah.
Light, and his fucking horrific take on, again, one of these things is something broke in him, and...
Yeah.
But the thing is, even at that point, the two of them as cartoonists, black and white stuff, is god tier. That's even pushing his fucking horrific shite agenda. You can look at the art and just go, fuck me, that's incredible. Why did you go wrong?
Yeah. I'm looking at the art here that he's redrawn, and it is gorgeous. Like, genuinely gorgeous. And it's one of those moments with, oh no, you're another one who turned into a bad one.
Yeah. I mean, sadly, kind of a minor one in the world of comics, but it's one of these things, yeah. The thing is, even when he got the writers in to do stuff, it's because he got Moore Gaiman, Miller and Sim, fuck's sake. It's a murderer's row of comic writer talent at that time. But you also go, could you just get a murderer in for the last issue? By the way, I should point out, I'm not including Alan Moore in this. He is, quite frankly, above all criticism on that front, a very principled man, and I've heard nothing to suggest other. So make that clear. Also a big fan of his work. But you got Moore goes in, then Gaiman does Medieval Spawn and all that.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking nothing story.
Oh, it's totally nothing. And then it ends with a weird sex thing, which, honestly, when I reread this time round, it's like, oh no.
And then you got, obviously, Sim, and then Moore, then it's back to Todd. Then you get Grant Morrison being the best writer in it, doing that random fill-in with Anti-Spawn.
Yeah, the Redeemer. That's good fun. That's really good fun.
Serviceable comics, but that's your best writing in Spawn.
Yeah.
I am not saying it's the best writing in Spawn so far, or at that point. Those Grant Morrison issues are the best writing, aside from the Alan Moore, are the best writing in Spawn, full stop.
Yes. So...
And it hasn't gotten any better.
No, he hasn't. He really hasn't. There's a really interesting thing that happened when I was going through this, and this is the reason I kind of brought it up, because I wanted to talk it through with you. Don't worry, we will get to the Warhammer, but comics is a fascinating, giant topic, and I could talk about this stuff for hours on end. So I was looking at some of those early issues. I'm going to say up to issue 25 is where my mind was mostly at with these. And it was the realization that a lot of the energy coming off the page is due to these massive sound effects and things that he has in the background. And it's taken me until now to realize they're not there. Todd McFarlane didn't do them. The pages McFarlane were putting in, and there's one of them in particular that when I realized this, I was baffled, and I wanted to try and find the original line art for it. And it's the Violator holding Spawn's heart as they're arguing with each other. So you got one hand, a heart, everyone arguing, and then these big thumps behind them. Tom, and I'm going to get his name wrong, Tom Orzechowski?
Orzechowski.
Thank you. I knew I was going to get that wrong. Does all of the sound effects. He draws in all of the sound effects for every issue of Spawn. That man is a fucking hero because he takes and makes Spawn work.
Tom is more famous for being the letterer on Claremont's X-Men.
I did not know that.
Yes, and you will notice when Claremont leaves X-Men, Tom leaves X-Men as well. And the reason for that is the royalty payments for letterers and colour artists from Marvel at the time were shit.
Right.
So many moons ago, when Claremont was working on it, he gave up part of his royalties to give to his letterer and his colourist because he went, I want the best book on the market. I'll give that.
Mm-hmm.
So once he went, you're back to your normal rates, and Ors just goes, nah, I'm all right, thank you.
That's amazing. I never knew that. Good on Chris Claremont.
Yeah, no, it's in his own interest as well. It's like, why do I not want my book to look the best? So therefore, whoever's working with me will get
a better rate for it.
Yeah, better royalty rate. And again, Uncanny X-Men was the top-selling book in the direct markets and newsstands. So yeah, it's in their interest. But once he left, it goes back. So they just go, nah, we're done.
Mm-hmm. That's interesting. So I wonder if Tom then was one of the... So I just assumed that the letterers and stuff would be work for hire. But I wonder if those guys jumped to Image with the...
No, it was work for hire, but basically Tom basically, aside from a few things, pretty much worked exclusively with Todd for a long time.
Right.
Todd basically paid. That's why Todd went, and when Todd did the first issue of Spawn, he went for the colours are from Steve Oliff of All the Optics, which was the at that point the premier digital colouring outfit.
Yeah.
They did Epic's recolouring of Akira. I know some people will say sacrilege, but it is very good. He was the best of the best, and basically there's an entire generation of digital colorists who were all his assistants and understudies, and have then gone elsewhere. He was the guy. So Todd just went, because he knew he didn't have to. The way Todd worked at it, and he talked about it, was, I can still keep the book at the price Marvel is. There's less people involved, so there's less overheads. I can afford to pay these people, and I'll still make more money off the back of it.
Yeah, which worked for a very long time.
Yeah, well, again, $2.99 up until recently.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy, isn't it? Managed to keep it. Although saying that, I don't think Spawn's in the top 50 anymore, is he?
I got to the point that Gav and I have talked about length because, again, we are recovering Spawn addicts. We have to think it's possibly a bit of a tax write-off now.
Right, okay.
You can offset tax costs on a loss leader.
All right. Okay, I can see where you're coming from there.
But I think we've done enough. However, I think at some point a Spawn podcast with me, you and Spence might not be the worst thing to do.
Maybe we can get that together at some point as a little summer treat. Honestly, I've got such a love of Spawn. I know it's bad. But much like getting your penis caught in a toilet seat, after a while it stops feeling as bad.
No word of a lie, on Saturday, Gav and I were talking about there was a Spawn combining mech toy from the early 2000s.
Yep, there was.
Fucking atrocity.
Genuinely, I can't help but love the Todd Father and everything he does. Even when the stupider it is, the happier I am.
Oh, 100%. I love him being an idiot.
Yeah. One of my favourite things in the world to do is go to a YouTube video, which is just Todd McFarlane in the Spawn animated series.
Oh, what would you do if your wife cheated on you? Todd's a fucking cartoon, mate. I'm not here to have a relationship questioned.
I love the fact he's not even trying to put on like an imposing voice or anything. You see this thin, weedy Canadian accent. It's like, would you make a deal with the devil? That slight lisp. Oh, I love him. Love him so much. Right, okay. Issue 14 of Warhammer Monthly.
First off, let's go the tagline and then get your thoughts. Darkblade's back, and this time it's serious.
Well,
And then it tells you in this issue, Darkblade.
I know.
Thanks, Guy. One of those is redundant.
So one of the things I'm going to try and do with this issue is I'm going to try and, if I have to say something overly negative, I'm going to try and say something very positive about it. And we'll start here. And I'm glad to see that an artist got paid.
Wayne Reynolds on the cover. It's Darkblade with a bloody sword with some tattered rags on it.
I'm going to prefix this with the fact that the art itself isn't bad. I can imagine the line art is actually really nice. But the colouring on it has made it into such a muddy, murky experience that, once again, you try to imagine this sitting on the shelf in WH Smith's. No one's going to pick up the poo colour.
Yeah, let's see. It's the aye. Have you ever seen the insides of a small child's diaper? That is the colour of the fucking background. That strange greeny shite that they do that no other human can put, that they can only do at that age. And after a while, the human body can't produce crap of that colour without chemical assistance.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like someone thought, you know what's good? Good marketing. It's a functional image, but again, we'll move on quickly. Again, it's one of these generic pose covers that just, like I say, became a curse in the 2000s, so Games Workshop are ahead of the trend, but just does nothing to make me want to go, that looks like a good read.
No. But there's an issue, a major issue here. It's a major issue in the case that even though the story has moved on, the cover for Darkblade, so before you are reintroduced to the character and before you kind of get to know who he is and you know what's going on in the new setup that he's got going forward, they've given him proper eyes. You would have thought that just because the character was so used, you know, all the time you've ever seen him, he had those demon eyes, he would have kept the big black demon eyes. But for some reason, he hasn't, and it found it really unsettling because it means the character himself doesn't look like the character.
Yeah, the change is good, so I'm not so hung up on that.
Oh no, I mean, it's just one of those things. Rather than it being a good or a bad thing, it's just one of those things that I noticed. I will try and close this window.
Someone had the temerity to walk past your neighbour's house.
I think they did. And the dog next door went out the window from the looks of it.
I sympathise. I again have the small chihuahua of death who hates everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So we're onto the insides and a little bit of a slight change.
Yes.
We've softened the rectangles up. We've got some rounder curves.
The Cal Jericho has a nice oval background. Yeah. It's and the little sidebar down the side, it's got a big picture at the bottom rather than just 4 tiny pictures. It's 3 tiny pictures and a big picture. Yes,
however, the problem is if you're going to do the little tiny picture, go and use it without the use the unlettered art, so you'll have a little tiny word balloon in it that nobody can goddamn read.
Yep.
It's not a fucking optician's wall chart. Again, it's the stuff that annoys me. Is like, this is Bush League shit. This is what you would do. So I'm going to do a preview, but you don't need the lettering at that point. So, and you already have the art, so just do it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. In 1999, you have the ability. It's not as easy as it is now, but you have the ability to scan the pictures that you have, the finished art that you have, and then have that in this like a higher density picture there, which would look really nice. Why you've cut it and pasted and done a transparency on the background on the actual comic? Insanity.
Just, yeah. Yeah, so we'll move on from here. Nothing much to say in terms of that. The two idiots are idiots. But the interesting bit...
No, there is something else to say here. Inside this comic, Dwarflords. So we've got Dwarflords back. Pax Imperialis. Gene Stealer Cult. Yes. Shadowfast. Yay. And Darkblade. So what we have, for the first time ever, is a fantasy battle outnumbering the 40k stories.
Yeah.
First time it's happened.
Yeah.
Which I thought was quite interesting.
Yep. I wonder which story will be the best of the lot.
Oh, let me guess. We'll
move on to the next page, which is the letters. There's a... What I'm going to do is going to focus on one of these letters, but cover two of them are for women, which is or female presenting, which is good to see.
Yes.
And it's nice that they're giving prominence to this.
Mm-hmm. Yep, 100% agreed.
In the early days of this, it's like, nope, we're doing it here. But the real interesting thing is the letter from Mark McLernan of County Down, Northern Ireland. Because Mark basically tears the magazine in your arsehole, politely.
Yep. I would draw attention to this one.
Echoes pretty much a lot of our sentiments.
Yeah, I think it's probably worth getting through it because there is some really interesting points that he makes.
So, Mark, for the past 11 years, I've been a reader of comics, and although I've often experienced a passing interest in Warhammer, I could never quite get to grips with painting the models. I have, however, read the codexes and have a fair idea of what's going on in the Warhammer universe. Was interested to hear news of a monthly comic based there. So he's effectively their target market for that, one of the big target markets for this comic to succeed. Because you're like, oh, we could maybe draw him in further into the hobby. We could hook him. He's already got a little bit of an interest. We can tip him over the edge. There is, I feel, something lacking in this comic, and I think part of this is there's no real introduction to the characters. This may be all fine for those readers who are already big Warhammer fans and know the history inside out, but for those who are new to the comic, it's a problem. There isn't even an explanation of the differences between the Warhammer and Warhammer 40k stories. Another complaint I have is a lack of depth to the characters. Bing, 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 bing!
Yep.
The only problems that they ever face are more and more people who they will inevitably kill with ease. Perhaps they were taken down a peg or two and given a real nasty opponent from time to time. Batman has the Joker, Superman has Lex Luthor, Wolverine has Sabretooth, etc. But no enemy in Warhammer Monthly has ever lasted long enough to become an ongoing threat. So what I'm saying is harder enemies, longer stories, and more interesting dialogue. Having said all that, the stories that stick in my head so far are Demonifuge and Bloodquest, helped along by excellent art from Walker and McNeil. Cal Jericho is another character showing a degree of promise under the guidance of Gordon Rennie, an old favourite from his Missionary Man days. This comic has great potential. I would hate to see it go to waste.
And how do they respond? We'll go through the letter in a minute, but the fact that it responds in the term of, sorry, what? I'm afraid to admit I wasn't listening. I was too busy looking back and reading all those accursed Inquisitors of the Imperium and those yucky Adeptus Aureatus in those last few issues. You dick. It's like, genuinely, I'm annoyed at the response he gets. Because they've gone out the way to say, oh, but we've done that. No, you did the barest minimum. If you are somebody who has, scanned a couple of codexes, you've got a passing interest in Warhammer, having a collection of the Inquisitors of the Imperium that is just 4 names, 3 of them from this comic, and somebody who is deep, deep lore, without an explanation of what an Inquisitor fully is, and the different branches of the Inquisition, you've lost them. You've absolutely lost them because you've just thrown a load of information at them without opening the door.
Yeah. As we said, these features just didn't make sense, but
no.
One, well done for them printing it.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Part of me wonders, is one of the editorial staff share that fucking opinion?
It might well be.
Because there is nothing in there that he said I disagree with. It's like, but it's good to see that they do it. So on that hand, but yeah, I know they're in character, so they kind of have their in character responses. Mm-hmm. But there's a better way to have done that. But it's just
100%. There's a way of giving that. I absolutely agree. The fact that they printed it, I think, speaks volumes. However, the fact that they printed it and then responded in that they ignored the points that were made. Yeah, and they don't have to directly respond to them. But, having something of, I'm going to pass this information back to the demons of the warp or whatever you want to say in character. There are ways of responding to it that don't feel so dismissive, and that's a response. That's how the response feels to me. Is it's incredibly dismissive, and it shouldn't be, because someone's taken the time to write in. And yeah, it's brilliant that they published it 100%. But come on.
So we're now going to help Adam's mood immensely. Guess what's the first up?
It's Dwarflords.
It's Dead of Night. Again, script and art by Paul Davidson and letters by Gordon Robson.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to give you a little bit of a strange response to this one, actually. So, basically, the dwarves find themselves hiding in an old cryptorial mansion of some description where big bats flap around in the sky. They hunt around and have a proper scary movie experience. Find themselves in the middle of a vampiric cult. And yeah, just do what the Dwarflords do, which is make quips and murder everybody in sight. Which is funny, because that's exactly what that letter's just been saying. However, whilst there isn't much to this, this is the best Dwarflords has been since the beginning.
Yep, I agree. I read it and I was like, aside from there's one panel I don't like in the setup for it and the staging of it, but aside from that, it's the most readable it has been.
Yep.
As we said repeatedly, the art throughout this has been brilliant. The actual rendering is top notch. Yep. It's the readability and the storytelling is where the strip has consistently fallen down.
Mm-hmm. Whilst this one, it's a really simple little adventure that doesn't let up. It barrels through the story really quickly. Everything is readable. You can... But out of interest, is the page that you can't read very well the one where they're all in the water?
No, it's the staging bit where it's the first panel on page 2 when they're looking at the shadow, which turns out to be that thing that's on the door. It's the story. So I can read the image, but the storytelling isn't giving it what it needs to be, which is that should have been more conventionally staged.
Yeah. Okay, I'm with you.
Because it's not a big reveal because the panel's underneath. You're doing that. You're doing that kind of thing if it's the end of the page panel and the reveal's on the other side.
Yeah,
these are the thing. When I talk about storytelling a lot, and I maybe haven't articulated a lot of it, there's a mechanic to telling a story on comics in terms of it's page to page. And what you're trying to do is give a hook. If you're doing something, you want the hook to be at the end of the page so people will turn over. There's a reveal. There's no point doing a bit partway through your page than having the reveal on the same page. Particularly if you're trying to keep the reader. If the reader already knows and it's the character having the reveal, that's different. This is one where the reader doesn't quite know where they are or what's going on. So this kind of big shadowy monster would be fuck, that's a big thing. Oh no, it's not. It's not a menace. It's actually just a bit of the door.
Yes, and
it works here. But if you want to actually have a decent moment, you have that as the end of the page 1, and that's the second page. On the page, excellent.
Yeah. Rather than having it there, shadow, and then in the background. Yeah. It's just a bit much. So it goes in the wrong direction. Is probably a better way of putting that.
But no,
I do want to say that the third panel on that page, I am sure that's a picture of Anton LaVey, and then the second picture down on the wall is the cover of Nosferatu.
Nice. But I can't think from what on panel 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's clearly doing sort of like vampire and all that and Satanism. So yeah, you're doing that. Yep, let's just chuck that in. Again, these are things that artists will do just to amuse themselves. Doesn't interfere with the story because it's just that's a creepy looking guy.
Yep.
That's a creepy looking guy. If you know, you know. If you don't, it doesn't interfere with the story or drag you out of the story.
No, completely. And I'm always up for some Easter eggs just hiding in the background of pages.
Yep. I like an Easter egg provided it doesn't get in the way of the story. There's a line to walk up. There's the former Jim Owsley, aka Christopher Priest is comic writer who goes on at length about this. Like he was a Marvel editor for a time, briefly edited Transformers, legend. But he talks about it and he just goes, if you're doing that shit in the story, get the fuck. Everything's in service of the story.
Yeah.
If it's not serving the story and you're doing it for your own indulgence, piss off. You're not doing the job.
Yeah.
And I kind of hew to that, but I still like putting Easter eggs in. But like I say, it's the way to do it. Like I say, it's adding to the story. I'm not taking out that frame going, I wonder who this guy is.
No. It's
Where,
the Venn diagram of someone who's going to see these things and me is a circle.
we'll be on the focus well, because I didn't know it was LeVay just at first, but I knew that was Nosferatu.
Yeah.
But like, it's like anyone doing like sci-fi comics and US mainstream are the worst for it. It's like, oh, we're going to do some background monsters and robots and aliens, and every motherfucker will sneak a xenomorph and a predator and shit into it.
Yeah.
Always.
Although, did you see? I think it was last year or the year before, Marvel sneaking in some Tau spaceships into. I think it was a Guardians of the Galaxy comic.
That will pause. That won't be so much Marvel as lazy artist.
Yeah. It was one of those things like, that's definitely that is definitely a Tau hammerhead.
But no, I like page 3. It has it all in the one scene. I love pages when people can do that. It's all. It's like effectively a splash page, but it's broken into 3 chunks.
Yep.
As the characters move about independently of it.
Which is such a cool way of doing it. I really like that. It's smart, really smart.
The only bit I don't like, and it's a poor bit of staging which doesn't work, is if you actually look at panel 3, Ithgrim's cape should be obscuring part of panel 2. If you can do it properly, do it properly.
Aye, yes, yeah.
This is the wee bits you need to when you're doing that scene to make sure that they're discrete moments in time, which is kind of what they're trying to do. Make it so none of the elements bleed across. Now, you've got the borders there to stop that, but your eye still follows it through. So it's a minor bit that if you're looking for it, which I'm the kind of person that is, average reader's not going to care. It's what elevates if you get that right. But again, as you say, it's perfectly serviceable. The most depressing thing about it is the potential spectre of there could be more Dwarflords based on the fact that the Lich says, I'll cross your path on another couple of occasions.
But if it's more like this, if this is the Dwarflords that we get, I'm okay with that. Because we had that first entry, which was a solid entry, and then it kind of just petered off into being very little. And then we're back with this one, and this is another really good. I'm giving it too much praise there. This is another solid entry. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with this one. And I enjoyed it. I actually enjoyed it. So if we get more Dwarflords like this, I'm happy. If we get more Dwarflords like we've had for the last 4 entries, please God, no more.
Exactly, yeah. It's just absolute. It's exactly what you... It's the kind of thing, like a dwarf story, you should kind of... If you're doing it, you're kind of going either Tolkien bollocks or lads. This has decided to go lads. So this is what it's inoffensive, lightweight, but it's enjoyable enough.
Yeah. I mean, it still suffers from the major issue that all the dwarfs sound exactly the same and have no distinct character. That hasn't changed. But as a little 7 pages of story, I've got no issues really with it. It's fine.
It gets in and gets out. And again, not fighting against the art to read the story.
Exactly. And that's the important part here. The story tells. You can read it. I'm not having to go back and relook at different pages and try and parse out what's actually happening. It's breezed right through it. And it's really weird that I'm giving it like positive responses by going, yeah, I just breezed right through it and it was done. So yeah, I really like that.
Yeah, it's a story that I when I read what I did, the same with the first one is, read through it, then I go back and pour over the bits of the art. Because there's a lot of stuff to like, just in terms of, again, the water panel on the last page, I love just for the fact that it uses the negative space of the white. So you're underneath, you're outside.
Yeah. What I was going to say here, because I had this horrible feeling that you were going to say bad things about it, and I was like, oh no, but I've got really good things to say. It is so Frank Miller-y that I kind of want to see someone do a Frank Miller-y Sin City Warhammer comic now.
See?
I love the silhouetting. I love the negative and the black and the white and how it's all these big areas of black with these stark silhouettes against them. Love it.
I'll add it to my list of jobs to do, Adam. You've seen I can do the silhouette TF comic I've done over the last couple of years. That's, especially doing it digitally helps.
Yes, yeah. I mean, there's a part of me that's considering the idea that I might have a go at it myself. I've got a load of unused concepts and ideas lying around, so I might actually give that a go.
But yeah, I'm supposed to be balls deep in TF Nation stuff, and last night I'm just photoshopping last night Hot Rod so I could send it to Nick Roach and troll him. I chuckled like a loon as I fired up Illustrator and did the G2 lettering balloon with Je m'appelle Hot Rod, motherfucker, for no other reason than to wound him.
Of course. You've got to upset the Roche. Oh, man. Oh, God, I need Nick Roche to write some Warhammer comics. That way I can get him onto a show and then just remind him how he once called the All House. He once said the words about the All House. Thank you for inviting me onto your shitty little podcast, which is a thing that I have for years run with, and to the point where he apologized for it. I love Nick. Love Nick. He's a... Yeah, I won't tell any more Nick Roche stories because I don't want to get anyone into trouble.
I have several as well. So.
Yeah.
But also, again, we get the loving rendering, the great scratchy line work. This is exactly what we were hoping for after Dwarflords Part 1. Like I say, as Adam said, the story's like, it's inconsequential, but that's fine sometimes.
There's nothing wrong with having a breezy story.
And given how much of a fight it's been the last couple of parts of Dwarflords to enjoy. Because part of what's made Dwarflords the biggest wound, I think, from me and Adam more than anything else, is that we both love the art.
Yeah,
the actual art is gorgeous, and it's absolutely our wheelhouse. It's like there's shades, there's bits of Bisley. We talked about Dave Sim and Gerhard, just looking at some of the way the backgrounds are done. There's touches of that. This is absolutely... So great black and white art that's in my wheelhouse, and I could read all day. But it was such a battle to read because the readability and storytelling just wasn't there.
Massive disconnect between the two of them. This one, they're working in tandem. Everything is working in tandem.
So I'd like more like this, please, Paul. Please. I realise I've no control over this. Even if I was a reader back in the day, I have limited control of it. But now, 20-something years later, even fucking less. But I kind of have my hopes up that maybe we'll see something better in the next issue as well, and just keep the streak.
I hope so. Because if we keep this kind of readability, this kind of entries into what Dwarflords is, you have something that is a very pleasant experience. Yeah, that you're absolutely bang on the money. The art itself, there's nothing wrong with it. It is absolutely gorgeous to look at. It is phonetic. It's got so much energy and momentum behind it that the expressioning and the cartooning is absolutely top notch. It's just that for a very long time now, Dwarflords has become a bitter taste in my mouth. Having something that has been this enjoyable, this little punky romp through an undead mansion. Yeah, I'm happy. I'm very, very happy. I love how the Lich is like super imposing when you first see him, and then you get the close up, and he's just like, God, you smell, don't you? You smell really bad.
Yeah,
it's such a great way of showing the same person, but from two very separate angles. Not just like physical angles, but also the angles of, oh God, it's a Lich. Oh God, it's scary. And then you get closer, it's like, oh God, oh no.
Yeah, it's again when it's. I mean, there's a whole thing about like sort of the vampiric stuff about your Boris Karloff and your Christopher Lee, your handsome romantic lead and dark and poses. No, I like your misanthropic, monster, dingy, horrible things because they're. It's the romance about vampirism is weird.
Yes, yeah.
Because
Anne Rice, still going to blame her.
Just leave Anne Rice alone. Sure.
No. Well, actually, I best add because she is very litigious.
Also, again, she's not the only one that's. Again, many of I love Christopher Lee's Dracula because the Hammer stuff's all kind of brilliant. But there's nothing romantic about vampires. Basically, it's like, oh, he's assaulting me against my will. Brilliant. Not kink shame or anything, but, not all that romantic and,
no.
Fuck Twilight.
Oh, yeah. It's why I like the Nosferatu movie as much as I do, because nobody in there's a good guy. Nobody in there's a decent human being. They're all just assholes. But anyhow. So, yeah, all in all, I was very, very surprised, and I've enjoyed Dwarflords, and hopefully, all fingers crossed, we get more of this. Shall we get on to Pax Imperialis?
Yes, our lone 40k story, script by Gordon Rennie, art by Colin McNeil, letters by Fiona Stevenson. So the Blood Quest team are back.
They are, in something that looks very different to Blood Quest.
And because I remember, is exactly what Blood Quest Book 2 is going to look like.
Yeah, but we don't know that yet. We don't know that yet.
Yes. Disregard. You here. We have... Colin also was using this in 2000 AD for Maelstrom and a couple other things around about this time when he wasn't doing full colour stuff. So it's basically a lot of ink washes. So grey toning. And what we're getting here is Adeptus Arbites on a random planet up against Gene Stealers.
But that's the best synopsis you could ever do for it, because that's exactly what it is. Yeah, things are going to go bad.
Yeah. So this is the second ed versions of the Adeptus Arbites, which were very, very clearly cribbing from Judge Dredd, who Citadel previously had the license for. Now, I love these, and it annoyed me that in second ed you couldn't have an army of them.
You could not. You could only have a unit, which is a real shame, because I think, honestly, I understand why they moved away from it, but I love that design. It's so it's beautifully 40k.
Yeah, it's also the thing that having you could have, again, because he was skirmish, that against, again, like this Gene Stealer cults. Perfect.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. And it's why they work really well in Necromunda.
Yeah. They were slightly, if memory serves from they were still better than Imperial Guard, because they did have access to slightly better weapons.
That's right. They had better weapons and better armor.
Las pistols, get the fuck.
Why do you want las pistols when you have a combat shotgun?
Yeah, las pistols and las guns. Like the Imperial Guard were just like, yeah, buy tanks, mate. Your troops are pish. Do you like really tall Gretchen? Because that's pretty much what you're fucking done.
Oh man alive.
No word of a lie was spoken. Any second death players will 100% agree with me on that one.
The reason the Imperial Guard existed to do the Zap Brannigan style of combat, where you just throw waves of meat into the grinder in the vain hope that eventually somebody will get tired and go to sleep.
But we digress. We have, back to the story. So the world is Tannen's world, and we're at Cassus, which is the biggest city. And apparently there's a secret Gene Stealer cult has mounted an attack on the government. So there's been months of fighting, and apparently there's only one precinct of Adeptus Arbites remaining. Assault on
Precinct 13 by any chance?
Well, no, because they're the ones going in rather than being under siege. So it's kind of a...
Yeah, but honestly, I was when I read that, the first thought was, we were robbed of a 40k assault on Precinct 13.
Well, it kind of starts off as more assault on Precinct 13.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, you're probably right. In fact, no, 100% actually. I read it the wrong way around. It is the tank going at them rather than them going at the tank, because it's just...
Yeah.
But we have assault on Precinct 13, your Doctor Who base under siege, any number of Westerns, because newsflash, John Carpenter did not get the idea for assault on Precinct 13 by himself.
No.
But it's basically that you're stout and stalwart defenders, outnumbered, outclassed, up against an enemy of imaginable, unimaginable. You know how it's going to end badly. However, the big commander has the grenade launcher. Love that.
He's going to be hitting on twos.
Yep, and I love the tubby Gene Stealer Patriarch.
Oh, he's such a beast. He's an absolute beast.
But it's also the fact that he's just so lumbering at the same time. It's like he's been staged well. It's like Collins looked at the model and went, yeah, that's not going to do actually much in a fight in terms of big dramatic movement. It's the wee guys are going to be the agile, dynamic ones.
Yeah. I do think it's weird how he's made the Gene Stealers really thin. It's not a bad thing, but it conjures up like, why are these Gene Stealers so thin? Must be something to do with the environment. But then you see the Gene Stealer Patriarch and you're like, oh no, it's because he's eating all the food, isn't it? That's what it is. He's been just protein, beefcake.
I always like them a bit lithe and wiry anyway, because it's all
Yep.
it's all carapace and all that, so it's going to be naturally, and chitinous is naturally harder than skin anyway.
Oh yeah.
And the idea is that these are meant to be fast as fuck, so you would want them to be built like runners.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So it makes sense. And also, even if you're looking at it, if you go it from the point of view of where do cults spring from, they generally come from the disadvantaged and the disenfranchised and that. So you're going to be getting a lot of your vulnerable, your poor, your emaciated. It's like, yeah, the Imperium's turned its back on you. Here you go.
No, 100%, 100%. As I say, in no way is this a criticism. I actually really like it because it got me thinking about Gene Stealer cults. And anytime that you're reading something and you start thinking about an aspect of it that isn't, proclaimed in the narrative that you're being presented with, I'm always interested because it just fills in the gaps. It makes you think about what happened beforehand, and it's something I've always enjoyed.
But yeah, it's one of these things. It's just like, nope, we're trapped. We're not opening the doors until they get breached. We're not helping. It's like our guys are trapped out there. Yeah, they're already dead. Doesn't matter. That's not what we're here for. It's the Imperial grinder. You're there in service of duty. Yep.
Blown, overwrought, imperialistic nonsense. That's perfect.
And it just turns out if they'd held out for only 3 more days, they'd have been fine because the relief force arrived and sorted shit out. And as was standard, all they do is scour the place, raise the city, burn it to the ground. Only the honoured dead will remain here, lying where they fell amongst the bones of their enemies.
That what has happened here stand forever as a testament to the Emperor's peace and a warning to those who would defy it.
Yes, the Emperor's peace is the peace of death.
Yep. It's the peace of being bombarded from the sky.
Yes, nice orbital bombardment.
Yep, just a little bit of exterminatus just to make sure.
It's another story that's very slight, as these one-offs are, but amazing art.
Yeah. We were saying before in Dwarflords about how just because something's slight doesn't automatically make it bad. And this is a perfect example of how it can work in the favour, because you are burning through, here's the backstory, here's the final moments of the story. You don't need the rest of it. It's just the last few dying moments of this longer story, and here's what happened at the very end. It's incredibly concise and solid work. It's like genuinely top of my hat off to you. It's a 10 out of 10 bit of work for me.
Yeah, that was, again, there's the whole point about one-off when you've got your 6-page, 6-5, whatever, is you don't have a lot of real estate to play with, so you need to hit the ground running. Again, this is one where you're not going to get your big character introspections in your monologues. It's all going to be implied or done through snippets of dialogue. Very little insight into the characters other than, yep, they're just there. They're there to do their job. One of them's got a hint of compassion for his guys, for his friends. He's overruled, but there's no argument. It's just like, right, that's it, fine.
Yep.
Here they come.
I want to talk about the heavy tractor unit, which I know sounds like a really weird thing to get into, but I want to talk about the heavy tractor unit because A, it looks amazing, and I desperately want to build one, and 2, those wheels don't make any sense. Can you see where I'm coming from with the wheels?
It's basically a big dragster.
Yeah, but look at the front. That's going to be dragging along.
Yeah, just a big dragster.
If you're sitting in that cockpit, you're only going to see one thing. You're not going to see in front of you.
You're not going to, but this is the 41st millennium that you're not actually going to be looking out your window. You're going to be looking, because that is one of the weird things about science fiction, which I kind of I love about Star Trek, is that the bridge, they're not actually looking. They're not actually looking at it. They've got a display, so there's a camera feed. This is how it should be. It's like, why would you want to be somewhere where potentially you're going to be exposed to getting shot or damaged? So yeah, you're all the way back.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. Always made perfect sense. I honestly found, once I kind of realised that tractor, the way that the wheels work, and it's like perfectly level on the stairs, that if it was sitting on flush on the ground, you have something that is just basically pointing downwards.
Unless it's on some sort of gyroscopic platform, in which case it does level off.
Maybe that goes up and down. Who knows? But I quite liked it. Although, if you look at the back wheel does look like it extends up because that's not a circle; it's an oval. I think we'll allow that.
And that's just perspective.
Yeah, it is. It is. But yeah, honestly, I love the fact that these poor RPGs are just getting run down and mowed by a tractor. That genuinely made me chuckle. Yep. All in all, it's a really fun, really cool little slice of 40k. And I'm happy to see Gene Stealers. I'm happy to see a Gene Stealer Patriarch.
He's been redesigned since and looks a little bit more dynamic, but I always liked just, chubby guy sitting on a throne.
Yep. Yeah,
It's like
the Rogue Trader era, Second Ed era Patriarch, which was just a big fat guy with a massive head. Yeah. Now he's just a really big, scary looking Gene Stealer, which is cool, but it just lacks some of the joy of chunky Patriarch.
But there's something endearing about a lot of those older models. But before the roughness gets filed off and they become the, quite frankly, dull stuff that is now.
I think that there's a lot of good stuff that comes out now, but I think there's less room to hide behind. There's a bad sculpt back in the day you could kind of get away with because it would still have a load of character from somebody putting the physical work into it. Whilst a lot of the sculpts now can be quite cold.
I think a lot of this. I mean, you saw like the Blood Angel stuff, the new Sanguinors.
Yeah.
And then go back to the other ones and go, I'll have them, thank you very much.
Yes.
A lot of blandness.
There is. Especially, it's one of the reasons I can't get into is that it doesn't, the design aesthetic that it has does not interest me, which is, yeah, it's fine. I mean, can I reach them? I don't know how well you'd be able to see. And of course, if you're listening to this, you can't see it at all. But I have recently discovered a guy who is creating Paul Bonner orcs. So it's all orcs based on the artwork of Paul Bonner. So I am knee deep in some Rogue Trader style orcs, all based on artwork. So it's like, yeah, this is the best thing ever.
Waiting on some miniatures from Heresy Miniatures.
Oh yes,
some of his Doctor Who guys.
Absolutely. Heresy's good stuff. I like Heresy Miniatures. Do you know what I don't like? Darkblade.
Spoiler.
Well, it's the next in line.
Yeah. So, Darkblade Book 2, Part 1, The Tower of Sithras Elgol. Script by Dan Abnett. Art by Kev Hopgood.
And what we get is a little backstory about the glass tower of the warlock Sithras Elgol and how nobody really knows how it came to be built and how different warlords and armies and mercenaries have fought over it, and it's guarded by all sorts of magical powers. And now Malice has arrived for 10 years. 10 whole years. Malice led his mercenary band, so great is their respect for him that they would follow him to their deaths. And today Malice gets blowed up. But it's okay, he gets better. Malice is there to search for the warlock. He wants the dead man. His raid is over, he says. I am a bought man paid in good gold to end your ways. I will not fail, and I will take delight in butchering you. He steps into this horrendous tower of magical power, and there is a man who should be on a certain list, staring through a telescope at what we shall not ask. He deals in souls. Honestly, the first time I saw him, I was like, stranger danger. Yes, the warlock deals in souls. He has a gem that allows him to steal, shred, and covet them. The fact that it hasn't stopped Malice proves that Malice doesn't have a soul to take, but perhaps I can get you back. Or get it back, I should say. He's heard stories of the demon and wants to know the full tale from Malice himself. Sorry, it's one of those things where, as I'm going through it, I kind of remember reading it last night and the night before. It's going, this doesn't frickin' end. It just keeps going. Yes, he tells the story of how he lost his soul to the demon, and the warlock says, make a pact, and I'll help you get your soul. Pact is made. The sorcerer's work is done. The warlock's power is all inscribed into his flesh, and so the pact is made. They make a bargain. And forward Malice goes as he lets Spite eat the Warlock because the Malice Darkblade has to have a sting in the tail somehow. Spite eats the Warlock and off he goes to find the demon with the Warlock's back, with all the runes of power inscribed into the distance. When I said before, this doesn't feel like it ends. How this feels like a much longer story than it actually is, I do not know. It just seems to be continuous. I kept thinking this must be the final page of it, but no, there's another page. There's another page. There's another page. What the hell?
So, as with before, lovely art from Kev Hopgood. No faults with any of that.
Nope, nothing wrong with the art whatsoever. It's a lot of nice work. I think there's a couple of bits where I don't know if the scan has just been a bit messy. It's like the way it's been printed. And it's later down in the pages. It's the final page. Spite looks a bit messy. Like it looks like there's been a bit of bleed or something going on or something. But I don't think that's anything to do with the art. I think it's down to the way it's been printed or the way it's been scanned.
But so what we get is 10 years have happened since Darkblade. We last saw Darkblade. He got himself a new arm. He got himself a new mercenary band, and he's been going around getting gold. And they're all dead now.
Malice gets blowed up, but it's all right. He gets better
now. The whole point about this is Darkblade was on a quest to get his soul back at the end of the last part of this one.
Yes, 10 years ago. Yes.
So, but in this, there's no hint that he went to this sorcerer to get any help. He's just a quest. It's like, would it not have been better to him having accepted these commissions in order to get that commission to go and do it? Yeah, they want you dead. I don't care. I'm here to use your powers. And then the sorcerer says no, does the bargain, then he kills him, takes it. Which would be, I don't know, more interesting?
I think there's a multitude of ways you could go from here which would be more interesting. Because what you get is a lot of Malice posturing, a lot of a Warlock either screaming or trying to bargain. And then it ends with the Warlock at no point is there any tension? No point is there anything. And what's funny to me is that we've had two stories where we've talked about how a brief, light touch for a tale, a breezy little tale, can be a good thing. You can do a lot of good with it. This is far too breezy for its own good, but also weirdly dense. It doesn't have a middle ground. We're back to just, here's Darkblade, here's a load of nothing. If Dwarflords can get better, why isn't this?
It's like, again, we've talked about it before, it was like Dan Abnett's capable writer's done some good stuff, done some very entertaining stuff in this. This is just the most uninspiring.
Yeah, it's insipid is the word that I use when I put through it. It's freaking insipid. I don't understand. I don't understand how Darkblade can be this nothing. I can't even call it bad because bad means there's something to hang a hat on. It's really hard to talk about because there's nothing. The artwork is really nice. The Spite coming in to eat the Warlock is an amazingly well-rendered picture that makes me think of a Beast Wars Grimlock. All of it is really good to look at. It's nice to look at. I love how Malice has got this weirdly malformed face where, depending on the emotion that he's getting across, he can either look like disturbingly inhuman or incredibly aloof. A lot of work being done on the art, in the pencils and the inks. But the bones of it are just broken and brittle and nothing. It would have been more interesting if he'd kept the Warlock, because then you've got a character for Malice to bounce off. The joke of Spite eating him isn't as interesting as having a separate character in order to give the strip something to hang a hat on.
Yeah, it just is. That thing is just, we could go on at length, but there's no point to it. It's just, there is nothing there to the story. It's so generic by the numbers. Yeah. great art. So I'd hoped, and as we said, give it the benefit of the doubt that you go in. So it's like we're on a fetch quest.
Yeah, it's the same.
The only thing is, we now no longer have anyone for him to talk to, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah, which is why I honestly thought the was going to with him. That there was going to be a two-hander, because that's interesting. That's an interesting thing to do. The dark elf and his human sorcerer teammate, his partner in crime. That would have been quite cool. And the fact that when it starts off, you get these absolutely glorious battle scenes. These first pages 2 and 3.
Yeah.
My God, I genuinely was like, oh yeah, this is where we're going. I'm excited. And then you get to page 5 and you just, please stop talking. Just how is it that a single character can just babble this much?
It's just rotten. That's the thing. It's just let's say it's not bad. It's the fact that you can't even get angry with it. That's the thing. Is the worst thing you can get out of a reader is apathy.
Yeah,
because it means you've failed on any level to provoke any kind of reaction.
Yeah,
this charitably, it feels very much we're going to start treating this like the two witless fuckwits on the intro stage page. Which I feel does Kev Hopgood a disservice, because he's doing the heavy lifting here, because the only things to look at and to take any joy from in this are the art. As you say, the battle scene, really well staged. It's dense, it's crowded, but still easy to parse and easy to read. It has a sense of scale, despite you not getting a massive vista to play with as well. But you're getting enough elements to show it's hectic, it's frantic, it's confusing.
Yeah, it's... Genuinely, the art is like top notch. Yeah, I love the difference. So there's bits where he's using a lot of inks. There's points when they're all in the light of the crystal, where I think he's moved on to a lot more pencils.
I think that's digital techniques as well.
Yeah,
because he's still done. The one thing, the most egregious thing in this that annoyed me more than anything, though, isn't any of the story. It's on page 4 when Darkblade goes yarg, because this is how you know it's digital, is because the letter balloons have been moved to the wrong place. Look at every dialogue balloon on that page. They should be dragged further to the right.
Yep.
Because you've got the last panel, he's neatly obscuring his face. On the last one, his chest is saying
Yep. And then let's try that again. It's coming out of his forehead.
And the SFX of Thwump should be to the right of the Thwump. Yep, someone didn't spot that.
Yeah, this went to the printers pooling, which is kind of why I was thinking that something might have happened to that last page, because I don't know, it just doesn't seem to be... Something seems off on it, but I can't quite put my finger on what it is. Yeah, all in all, yep, Darkblade's back. Get ready for another 6 issues of trying to find something to talk about.
Let's move on, because there's no... This will be as tedious for the listeners as it is for us. Yeah. Kev Hopgood's brilliant. Dan Abnett is capable of better. That's pretty much what you're going to get from the next 6 issues.
We'll just take the review of this one and just place it in each show going forward. Then we get an interview with Dan Abnett.
Yes, so Warwick Kinraid speaks to him and just basically points out he's not just done scripts for this, but he's also doing short stories for Inferno. Lists off, obviously, Gaunt's Goats, Gilead, The Doomed High Elf, and The Knights of the White Wolf. So when he's in the office, they've had a wee chat. Dan talks about his break in comics, which was Killer Instinct and Action Force Weekly, and then other stuff he's done.
Never knew that.
Yeah. Yes, he also did Doctor Who, Star Trek, Ghostbusters, Thundercats, Rupert the Bear, Mr. Men, Batman, Superman, Conan, Punisher, Judge Dredd, Terminator, Rogue Trooper, Iron Man, Doctor Strange, Green Lantern, Aquaman, The Avengers. The list goes on and on. He neglects his Transformer stories. Just saying.
Tut. So I say to you, Dan.
Yeah, did Cyclops getting his head ripped? Not Cyclops, Cyclonus getting... Oh, he did the script, so the plot was from someone else.
No, maybe that's why. Maybe he's only listing things he wrote the script for.
So, what's he proudest of? He says Iron Man, no Dan. He's definitely not. Lords of Misrule, Knights of Pendragon, Hypersonic, Resurrection Man, and Sinister Dexter. Mm-hmm. I think Knights of Pendragon is probably the thing you should be proudest of, Dan. Classic.
Knights of Pendragon's really good. I also really like Resurrection and Sinister Dexter for the first 10 years.
Sinister Dexter is one of these strips that should have, the first time he ended it, should have been the end. Just, it's the comic book equivalent of Ringworm.
Come on. That's a hell of a way of describing it.
It's just an infestation now.
Yeah. You couldn't get rid of it if you tried.
Yeah, so he basically talks a little bit about how he got into it, how he approached it, what he should do in terms of getting submission guidelines, which is vastly out of date because you'd be sending things like a stamped addressed envelope.
Yeah.
As I don't need to do that now. Most of them are online if they're even taking it.
Yeah, true.
Says he really would like to write for the Mighty Thor.
Does he ever get the Thor?
No,
I don't think he did he? No.
Thor is in capable hands right now and has been for quite some time.
Yeah. Yeah, just weird that in 20-something years, he never actually got to write a Thor comic. I mean, I know he has written Thor, but I don't think he's never written an actual Thor comic.
Talks about his favourite. He says you've got to like Darkblade. It's like, you don't. Inquisitor Defay he likes, and he likes Accounting Titan, but his current favourite is Commissar Gaunt.
Mm-hmm. And those books are awesome.
It's like, you're writing a novel featuring Gaunt and the Ghosts. Tell us about it. It's my first novel as a working title of First and Only.
Give us a sneak preview. Okay, it's set in a Forge world called Fortress Binary, which has been taken over by Chaos. There's lots of politics and infighting between Imperial Guard commanders. Gaunt's arch-rival, Commander Duvare, is trying to get Gaunt out of the way so he can take all the glory. I'm just putting all the finishing touches to it. Why is there not a Gaunt's Ghosts comic?
We've talked about that. It's like, why would you not at some point? Ask about anything he's done, and apparently he was a stunt double in the Scandinavian adult movie business, and then says, it's not true, but can I say it? It's like a translation, that question shit. Talks about his favourite movie, asked about his favourite movies, Empire Strikes Back, Some Like It Hot, Matter of Life and Death, Spinal Tap, Raising Arizona, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and Magnificent Seven. Right. I fucking hate when anyone asks that question because nobody says anything true.
No. It changes. Your response to that's going to change day to day.
Everyone, whenever they get asked that question, will always list the favourites they think people should hear, as in good films. It's like, one of my favourite films is Shakma, and I'll tell you it's Shakma. But it's technically shit. But I'll tell you it's my favourite. That's not an honest answer half the way through. It's like, oh, all this. No, where's the really horrible thing? Like Krull or fucking Hawk the Slayer.
But Slayer's a big bag of shit.
I know, tiny bag of shit.
I love Hawk the Slayer. I love it to bits.
Yeah, nobody ever gives a genuine answer. Oh, is that so it's like no, because I'd say Empire Strikes Back is a favourite. Batman, but mine's is kind of like Empire Strikes Back, The Fisher King, Batman Returns, Evil Dead 2, and Shakma.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my 5 favourites. Bubbling Under is 12 Angry Men, the original black and white one. But that's
a absolute stomper of a film.
It's about but you'll notice the really worthy one is not even in the top 5 because it's not about your favourites. Your favourites, not the things. It's like,
absolutely. It's like I can watch Jurassic Park and Terminator 2 every day, forever. You know, they are just like absolute godsends that it's like giving your brain a nice soapy bath. Yeah. However, I will also watch Deep Star 6 any day of the week.
Yeah, I mean, that thing is no one, and I say it's not a dig at Dan, it's anyone that ever gets asked this in interviews never fucking gives a real answer.
No.
And I was like, and also, as you say, your favourites change based on where you are. There's like your all-timers, and then there's ones that just because you've caught them recently, like, oh, that's gone back in your estimations. Or there's ones that will always be like, I absolutely love The Beast Must Die.
Mm-hmm.
Because it is the only film ever in history to have a 30-second werewolf break. No word of a lie. You get 30 seconds in the film where it fucking stops dead and gives you a countdown so you can guess which of the surviving cast is the fucking werewolf.
Yep. It's great. The Kenneth Branagh Hercule Poirot films should have Hercule time in them so you can stop and try and work out who the murderer is.
Stop or time.
See, actually, those films are shit, and I love them. I love Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot.
But that's it. Whenever any interview gets asked, it's just like, oh, I like this, I like that. It's like, no, It's like you might do, and they might be favorites, but where's the ones that you're not fucking telling us? That I say nobody fucking says. It's like,
But it's the problem with the type of questions they're being asked, because none of the questions are interesting ones. You know,
I love interviews when they go into process and stuff.
Yeah.
And because when people will talk about the process, they'll generally talk about stuff, and they'll share the genuine stuff in terms of what's influenced them or what's there. But when you just go on what's your favorite books? I'll have a look over the shelf, and what catches my eye, I'll tell you.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just like, but yeah, it's like, what's your favorite food and your favorite music? It's like, to be fair, I think it's a genuine answer, because he goes sushi, and he's like, no, all right then, macaroni cheese. It's like, yep, that's it. That sounds like a legit answer. I was like, yeah, I'm a writer. I stay at home. I can't be arsed. I've got lots of deadlines. It's going to be something like that.
Yeah. And I think the most interesting thing that comes to what makes a good comic story: a writer, an artist, and a patient editor. Have you been learning your interview style, Kev Walker? Expand on that answer a little. Okay, seriously, I'll get into a little more technical. You must dynamically visualize the W. The W is your story structure. The story starts on a dramatic high, then drops into a scene-building exposition. You then build to another peak, again another cluster moment. Now drop away into a more exposition and build, then go for the big finish. If the story is longer, you might need more than one. A double W. For a short story, you can use a V instead, or perhaps a V and a W. Or is that a car? Mr. Men stories are always M-shaped because you want to end on a soothing happy ever after for a bedtime story. Never try writing a Q. Now, why I found that interesting is because that is giving you an idea into how it processes information. That is interesting to me.
Yeah. And it's, as I've talked about in the story, there are mechanics to storytelling, which is what Dan is describing. It's not the thematic storytelling or the themes, it's the nuts and bolts of the mechanics of how you assemble it. Now, before we go on the call, just today, I've just finished some 3-panel daily adventure strip style stories for the TM UK fanzine for TF Nation.
Yeah.
So, which long gone out at this point, but by this point I've shared it online. But I got the script, the plot from Ralph, which was a massively dense plot, most of which didn't get used. Not out of spite. I mean, he threw it with the take what he goes, here's the big story, pull out of that what you can do for this. But the whole point is the format of your story, as he points out there, which is the key things, like the format and what you're doing, like a Mr. Men, as he said, is different than anything else. 3-panel adventure strip, you're basically, or you can do more than 3 panels, but you're basically looking at the theme of your strip is, if it's the first one, you're starting it, you're giving exposition, you're setting up a cliffhanger so someone wants to come back tomorrow. Strip 2, resolve your cliffhanger, advance this plot, give another cliffhanger. And it's, you work within these limitations, and it's the same with that. So but as you can see, Dan's structure is, I'm looking at the moment, this moment, and this moment, and I'm going to build to them, build up to them, or come down from them, build up, whatever you need to. So that's how he's looking at. There are other people, will say, who will do a story, will go, I'll get my ending and then I'll work my way back, which is how most whodunits are done.
Yeah.
Most successful whodunits are always, I work out the ending and then I make my way back to the beginning, because that's how you make sure that if you do it right, there's no problems, you're not having to do sort of fake setups. It's like Friday, take example of Friday the 13th. The first film is effectively meant to be a whodunit.
Yeah.
And they throw in Crazy Ralph as the it could potentially be him. And then right at the very end, you get the reveal out of nowhere that it's Jason's mum.
But
it's out of nowhere. It doesn't work. It's a really bad whodunit. Because they just did, we're going to do a slasher. Who's going to be killer? I'll go be that person.
Yeah.
Rather than work back from, if she's the killer, how do we make it so you can potentially maybe guess it, but it's not obvious?
Yeah.
So
the problem with the first Friday the 13th film was it was sold before it was a script.
Yeah.
It was sold to be a experience, not a film. And that, I could get into the entire history of Friday the 13th, but I'm not going to do it here and now.
Right.
Friday the 13th is the entire reason why all those rules exist in horror films. People who have sex die, people who having, taking drugs and alcohol die. All those rules are set up in that Friday the 13th because she's a bitch. So there you go. There's a fascinating piece of horror history for you. At the very end of this, there is a little thing at the bottom. Warhammer Monthly is a year old, throwing a party. So there's a exclusive comic strip that comes with White Dwarf 232. So that's something we're going to have to cover now, Andy.
Yep. However, what we're going to do is going to go. So it's basically saying, this is cool. We're giving you a free issue in Warhammer Monthly. Go in, 3 all new exclusive strips. It's a cover of Demonifuge on it. It includes the story of Cloten. Now, I know who Cloten is. Is everyone who's reading this going to know who Cloten is?
No, because it doesn't tell you anything. Cloten, from this little advertisement here, Cloten is a secondary character in Demonifuge.
Whereas we all know Cloten is actually one of the warriors from BloodQuest.
Yes. Yeah. But that's not what you've been told from the way that is set out.
But also, if this is your first issue and you're looking at that ad, you're thinking, cover star's Cloten.
Yes, that's a good shout.
It's such a...
Yeah, that's a problem. That's a major problem.
Again, it's one of the things that I love this. Yes, let's you're getting them into, no, look at our nice glossy monthly model catalogue with bits about the games. We're going to tie you in with a comic if you've liked this so far. Here's your free issue.
You've got to plan this stuff out a bit better than this.
You're assuming they know what it is, and you shouldn't be. You should be assuming that this is the first issue. Any content like this should be aimed at, this is your first. If it's your first issue, you're not lost. All I'm seeing is I need to buy a copy. Not that you can get it in shops. To get your copy, call mail order so we can get your address and add you to the fucking marketing lists. Sneaky bastards.
Oh yes, I noticed that.
Not go to your news agent now, ask them to reserve a copy. Because there's 2 very good reasons for that. One is the first, which is get your marketing information. That's where the money is. The second is they get more profit. If you are buying stuff in the news agent, the cover price is not going to the publisher. Depending on what it is, they are not getting all of that.
No.
While it's good to buy in the shops, if you can buy directly from publishers, particularly smaller press ones, please do so. They will get more of your money.
Yes. Always. I always agree with that as a sentiment. I'm just going into my 232. There is nothing in issue 232 that tells you. I'll have to look at that later on. But yeah, I've gone to the actual issue of 232. There is nothing in there that tells you anything about the comic. Okay.
Just has one free comic inside. I'm looking on eBay foolishly to see if there's any with the free comic. Our survey says, fuck off.
£9.04.
Yeah, but not with the comic.
No, not with the comic. Okay, well, leave that one with me and I will see what I can do.
There is one. Let's have a look. Well, there's several. eBay delivers. Let's just see how much they want. £9.50. This is exciting. This is exciting podcasting stuff here. Good condition is not curled up at the edge across the whole cover.
Oh,
Mr. Bryden of eBay, you're full of shit.
Leave that one with me, and I will see what I can do about finding a version of that from somewhere.
No, that looks. Oh, you put up for fucking auction rather than price.
Monsters, genuine monsters.
Well, it's more just Games Workshop letting this shit go out of print. It's just so fucking short-sighted.
Yeah. Why this stuff isn't available or something for you to be able to go through, I don't understand. They will have the masters. They will absolutely have the masters to be able to work from.
So, just to tell you, so what you get is inside that you get Red Secrets, Kill Confirmed, Hellbrant Grim, and awesome previews of Storming new strips.
Excellent.
So, just looking at Red Secrets is how veteran Sergeant Cloten from BloodQuest succumbed to the Red Thirst.
Okay.
There's a Cal Jericho story. Kill Confirmed is an Aura Spire goes hunting in the depths of the Underhive to discover anyone can become prey. There's a Darkblade story. I think it's a reprint because it's when he's on the trail of the fabled Dagger of Toxus, which I think was...
I have the comic.
And Hellbrant Grim.
Right, okay.
You can win a Cal Jericho
Hey, always good. Always good. Okay, right. Yep, I've got the comic. We can, at some point, we will go through that issue. Maybe it's the next one. But cool, right. Shall we move on then? Shall we get on to
Shadowfast.
Shadowfast?
By Michael Brown, art by Simon Harrison, my boy. Amazing. Letters by Gordon Robson. It's the final chapter.
Kind of sad to hear that sentence.
Yes, however, well, come to it at the end. So we've got Shadowfast, as from last issue, is in the Blighted Isles, so some land of the dead, where all basically looks like Elf Valhalla.
Elfhalla.
Yeah, there's looks like high elves having a sortie to what looks like a whole host of undead dark elves and various other monsters. It's all to do with Shadowfast is here with the staff, and the wizardy guy, Hellstar, needs the staff because he's got the orb. And the staff and the orb, if they combine, he can control all of the dead.
Yes.
So the undead high elves basically say when Shadowfasting out, I'm like, what are you fucking doing? You need to get away. We can't risk having him get the orb and having the orb and the staff. But Shadowfast obviously has said, I can control the dead. It's like, not in this realm, you can't. You need both. So right now, he's just got a fancy stick. He does, however, have his swords. So, we're all good.
Yeah, stick and sword. That's the number one children's game of 1998.
But the battle isn't going well for the undead high, or the dead high elves, I should say. They are being deadered.
Redeaded?
I know.
Redead me?
2.0?
Deaded?
Yep. Anyway, they're getting tonked, basically. So Shadowfast does a sensible thing because he has the staff, which the Hellstar needs, and goes charging towards him with the staff. But
sensible.
Yes, bringing the two objects together that could hand Hellstar an unimaginable power, making sure they're close together. What could possibly go wrong? He has not. So he jumps in the air and punt kicks the orb out of Hellstar's hand, grabs it, and assembles it himself. So he can control all of the undead. What happens is, he's like, no, the staff is mine. Which I do like a good pathetic villain tantrum.
Oh, the staff is mine. With it, I'll lead the dead back, and I will command. And
he gets killed by his ally, who knew he was a treacherous scumbag.
Mm-hmm.
So, unfortunately, as long as the staff is here, the vortex between the dead and the living will remain open. So he does the only sensible thing of, well, that's fine. I will take the staff and go back into the living world. And so he gets across. And he thinks, oh, that's it. But evil dark elf has followed him. No,
it cannot be.
It's like, I live. After 1,000 years, I live. By the god of murder. Now there will be a reckoning. I will not ask. I will pluck the staff from your still twitching fingers.
You know how Shadowfast responds to the I will pluck your staff from the still twitching fingers?
Yeah.
I know it's meant to be a sound of, effort.
Yeah.
But I read that in full Glaswegian.
Yeah. No. Pure John Smeaton. I'll set about you.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like staff, orb, and sword of Cain, all will be mine. Then I will call forth the undead of this isle and march in triumph upon the cursed foes of Ulf. And Shadowfast at that point goes, you talk too much, and slits their throat. But, I live. But how? No one can die twice, and mine was a death most horrible. I saw them in the land of the dead, being dead the second time. Yep. I call bull on that.
Yeah, there's a bit of Celtic mythology at play here without the full use. And as a result, it's a bit of a weird moment to have this deep into the comic.
Yeah, and the dark elf is attempting to pull Cain's sword from this big cenotaph ritual monument block of obsidian that it's in.
Mm-hmm.
Pulls it out, chops at the staff and sword, and it burns. Explosion. They're dead. The sword's back, miraculously back in the sheath. The staff and the orb are gone. Shadowfast walks off. It's over. The end. If you can tell by the sound of my voice that I'm not giving this part much shift, I am incredibly disappointed how shit that story is.
Do you know why?
There was no ending to this story. This was oh shit, we need to wrap this up.
Yes, because the story that is ended here is not the story we started with. It's a really weird ending to a completely different thing. Now, I'm not saying that the story... I could say that in a way, in both a good and negative way. Yeah, a story can evolve over time. As you get more entries into it, you get a bigger picture and more things kind of happen. But if you think about where Shadowfast begins and where we've ended up, it's really kind of hard to see the through line. This is not the ending to the Shadowfast story.
No.
This is a different story that's ended. It's a really weird read.
Yeah, it's just absolutely just... It upset me so much because I've enjoyed this, because the story's not been great. That's to be fair, and we've said it. It's been entertaining. Yeah, you've wrote something, oh shit, I have to wrap it up. And it kind of toys on to what we said before, where the previous installment felt rushed.
Yes, yeah. As the last 3 entries today, this one and the 2 before it, have felt like they've sped up a bit. And I don't mean the momentum sped up. I mean the actual art of writing it, the construction of it feels like it's sped up. And I wonder if this was meant to be 2 books and they condensed the second book into those last 3 parts. Because this one, as much as I had a lot to say about the last entry, this one is just crushed full of things. It's the last one had I remember saying that very much the same thing. This is that on taken to the nth degree. It's just crushed full of ideas and concepts, things that none of it gets time to breathe. Nothing gets any kind of time to really sit and dwell. And then it's done. It's ended. And my first thought at the end of this was, okay, so what happened to the story? Where did we go? Where did the story that we were on vanish? Because we appear to have left that behind and gone through the bramble-stricken woods rather than follow the path.
Yeah.
And it's incredibly unsatisfying.
It's your main villain has been that ostensibly was meant to be the Hellstar, the guy in the orb to start with that enticed him. But he gets off just at the very end there, and you get this new one as your direct threat to get it. And it's like, no, this is...
It's a hat on a hat on a hat on a hat. You desperately need, especially in an anthology comic like this, where you only have a certain amount of pages. To be fair, Shadowfast does get a lion's share of pages. It's got a fair bit to work with here, which is kind of one of the reasons I'm thinking this is a condensed version of what Book 2 of Shadowfast was meant to be. But because you've got all of these layers over the last 3 entries, nothing means anything. You've just gone from thing to thing to thing to thing. And we were under the impression that Chaos Warrior from the beginning was going to come back at some point.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. It's retroactively made me go look at Shadow and think, what was going on here? Because there's too many hooks that have been left unhung. You've got too many layers at the end, and it really hasn't hung together at the dismount. It's genuinely irritating.
Yeah. That's the thing is serial storytelling. If you can't land the ending, it harms everything else because you're building up to a point, particularly in this, where it's not clear whether this is meant to be an ongoing thing or this is just going to be the last one. Potentially is, but it's just like, yeah, just really, as you say, it really upsets. You're like, particularly as it's a series we're quite high on. Again, this is not to detract from any of the art. It's still of an amazing standard.
Absolutely. Yeah, the problems all come from the nuts and bolts of the construction of the story. The art it's sinewy gorgeousness, absolutely beautiful to look at. But altogether, I know I keep saying it, and this is the last time I'll say it, but the final boss that we get here is not the story. It's not the payoff to the story we've been told. This is something else. This is an entirely different ending. Kind of want to know the story behind it now. I want to know the ins and outs of the construction of this. So if you're listening, Michael Brown, please get in contact.
The biggest issue for me is, as we said, and we talked about previously in the installment where it kind of jumped cut and went and picked up pace rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
This should have been spotted at submission stage when they're doing the outline and blocking this out, and when you've got too much or not enough. Where is this? The editor's hand in this is also at fault, which kind of backs up a lot of what we've said in earlier installments, which is they're not really experienced comic editors, and it's showing. This is something that you would go right off the bat. What's your brief? What's your breakdowns for this? Ding, 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 ding. That's too much. That doesn't make sense. If he's your big bad guy, why is he suddenly being... Like, there's no problem in him being offed if you've got another character waiting to step in, but just at the very end, it feels very unsatisfying, particularly if it's a character that's only introduced in this last part.
Yeah.
Different if it'd been the henchman or someone that's been in and around for a few installments.
Yeah. Well, what we've had for the last 3 installments of this has been, here's the bad guy. Oh no, there's a bigger bad guy above him. And then the third part, there's a bigger bad guy above him. And it would have made more sense if this had been the Chaos Warrior from the very beginning, closing the cycle on the story by going back to the beginning. Oh, you killed me. I was in the land of the dead. Now you brought me back to life. You can do a lot of the same things that sorcerer is doing, but it's more narratively satisfying.
Yeah, this again, it's just very frustrating for a story that we've enjoyed. That's the thing, and as I said earlier, it's when you're doing a serial, if you end on a bum note, that's the thing is, because when we talked about, for example, is Blood Quest for you was not a winner, but it's built up to the point with the ending, it ended on a high note, and you're like, I cannot wait for that to come back. Titan ended on quite a good note. We're both like, yeah, look forward to seeing more of this. It did wrap up a little bit too quickly for my part, but as I said, but always on an encouraging note. Darkblade ended flat because the whole thing was flat.
Yes.
Monofuge ended on a good note. Like, okay, I'm looking to see where this goes now. I mean, if Dwarflords ends on a half decent note, we'll end up going, yeah, I want to see more of this. This is like, do I want to see more of Shadowfast? No, I don't.
No.
I'll happily see more of Simon Harrison's art on anything, but yeah, pretty much. Nah, we're good.
Yeah. This character he's soured himself with this. It's a genuinely bizarre experience that you've had something that's ran these really good few issues. I mean, more than half of this has been excellent, and then about 3 issues ago, it just starts tapering down. And this isn't a taper. This one is like a full-blown drop. Frustrating is a good word for it because it deserves better.
I mean, the art is still fantastic, and there's not a criticism of that. And
no.
But this is just no thanks.
I love how Harris draws the gold ones. They are proper monstrous.
Oh yeah, his Strontium Dog stuff, which I've harped on at length, is do check out The Final Solution. Case Files Volume 4 is out of print, which has his first one, which is the No-Go Job, which leads into it. But yeah, just can't recommend it enough.
Yep. Seconded on that one. Seconded.
And Revere as well, which you can get. It's just get this stuff. It's great.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and if you do pick up anything from our recommendations, give us a shout and let us know. I'm always interested to get people's opinions on things.
Yeah, it's just, let's say, it's just because, as we said, we're trying to be more positive than negative when we can. But it's the thing is, when you get invested in something and it doesn't land, that's you're like, and that's it. It's like this should have been so much better. Yeah,
and I genuinely think that this should have. This second half, not even second, third, the last third of the Shadowfast story should have been its own book, because then it would have had time to breathe. But it felt like, I don't know if it was cut short, and I don't know if it was an issue with the construction of it. Something somewhere has failed miserably to get to the end. That's me done on it, I think. That is literally me done, because I don't want to kick a thing. It's sad. It has the fact that you end this issue on that really has just like it takes the wind out your sails, which is, well, it happens. I guess it happens.
they can't all be winners, but like I say, it's just when it's something that's been so enjoyable for it to bomb so flat at the end, it's just like,
Yeah. Genuinely annoying, but hey ho. So yeah, so that is issue 14. Well done. To be honest with you, it is very much an issue of two halves. The Dwarflords really just solidifies a very enjoyable read. Pax Imperium is great. Pax Imperialis, I should say. Darkblade is Darkblade. Shadowfast ends badly. Not the worst issue I think we've had, but definitely nowhere near the best.
oh no, far and away, just to say.
And of course, next issue 15, is Cal Jericho. So hopefully that'll continue to be a rather pleasant experience. Because so far, Cal Jericho's 3 for 3, I think.
Yeah, he's proven to, as we said, just doing it the sensible way of just having him dip in and out. He's not overstaying his welcome, which is what you want, but it's just enough that you want more, to the point that when we hear that there's a new Cal Jericho, it's like, oh, looking forward to that. I want to see what that is.
Absolutely. Yum.
And like I say, we're getting to the point though that I think a few more of those, and we'll probably be looking for maybe something a little bit more substantial.
Yes, yeah. But I think at this point, a year into, or just over a year now of a monthly, there should be something a bit more substantial in general. But we'll see what happens when BloodQuest comes back.
Yeah, well, the thing is, he's as close to being. It very much feels like they're trying to position Darkblade as the character.
Yeah.
Fucking ain't.
No, he's not.
So far from it, it's not even funny.
Yeah,
but the scope for Jericho to move into that done right.
Mm-hmm. And I think he probably does at some point. I have a feeling. But we shall see. We shall see as we go along.
I would hope so, because it would be most welcome.
It really would. Genuinely would. So I think with all that being said, we will start to get out of here. Andy, where can people find you and leave burnt offerings?
I lurk about a few places, but mostly just hit me up on Blue Sky. adtcomics.bsky.social. Probably, depending on when this comes out, I might be balls deep in more 3-panel strips. Who knows? There's other stuff impending as well. But I'm not saying until a little bit later.
Well, let's have a think. This one will be out 26th of September is when this episode will drop.
So I will hopefully then by that point, myself and Gav Spence will be the owners of the extant Juggermorph trademark. Our application is currently pending at this point in time. Yes. What a trademark.
I tip my hat off to you. That's amazing.
We will see what, but there should be hopefully some comic late stuff for that coming soon.
I know bits of it. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. Shouldn't be this excited, but I am. As for myself, you can find my personal stuff on adnicol.weebly.com, which is ADNICOL. Don't put a H in it. Every fucker does that. At weebly.com. There you can get my art. You can get the various stuff that I've done, expansions for the games I've written. I have two entire audiobooks on there you can get for free. One is We Can Remember It For You Wholesale, Dick, and the other is Mean Streets, A History of the Two-Dimensional Fighter, which goes through two-dimensional fighters. So there you go. The Fluff and Hammer, you can just search the Fluff and Hammer, and you can also email us at fluffandhammer@gmail.com, which you are more than welcome to do with some feedback and letters. And of course, we have a Patreon at patreon.com/the Fluff and Hammer, where you can join us for $1, $2, or $10. Join us for 10. Then when you get t-shirts, you get mugs, and you get stickers. That's worth it, isn't it?
Everyone loves a sticker.
You get them all.
Because they don't take up space.
You get all these things. If you stay for longer than a year, you get another set of t-shirts, mugs, and stickers. You get all sorts of things. Come join us on Patreon. Please, give us your money. And with all that being said, we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Catch you later.